Hello, dear listeners, and welcome to our podcast. My name is James, and today we are going to explore a very interesting topic: international relations. This is a subject that affects all of us, no matter where we live. It is about how countries work together, how they solve problems, and how they build friendships. Some countries are close partners, while others may have disagreements. But in the end, international relations help keep peace in the world and make life better for everyone.
Yes, James. Hello, everyone. I'm Sophia. International relations are important because no country can live alone. Every country needs others for trade, security, and solving big problems like climate change or health crises. Think about it: when there is a natural disaster, different countries send help. When there is a conflict, leaders talk to find solutions. Without international relations, the world would be more dangerous and less connected.
That's true, Sophia. One big part of international relations is diplomacy. Diplomacy is when countries talk to each other through their leaders and representatives. They make agreements, sign treaties, and try to prevent wars. Diplomats are like peacemakers. They visit different countries, attend meetings, and discuss important issues. When countries have good diplomacy, they can solve problems peacefully instead of fighting.
Yes, James, and diplomacy is not just about avoiding war. It also helps countries work together in business, education, and culture. For example, students from one country can go to another country to study. People can travel and experience different cultures. Countries also share technology and scientific research. This kind of cooperation makes the world a better place and helps everyone grow.
Another important part of international relations is international organizations. These are groups where many countries come together to solve global problems. A good example is the United Nations or the UN. The UN helps countries keep peace, provide food and medicine to people in need, and protect human rights. It is like a big family of nations working together to make the world safer and fairer.
Yes, the UN is very important, James, but there are also other organizations that focus on different things. For example, the World Trade Organization helps countries do business with each other. The World Health Organization works to fight diseases and improve healthcare around the world. These organizations make sure that countries can cooperate even when they have differences.
And let's not forget about alliances. An alliance is when countries become partners to help each other. Some alliances are for security, like NATO, which is a group of countries that promise to protect one another if there is a threat. Others are for economy, like the European Union, where countries work together to make trade and travel easier. Alliances help countries become stronger by working as a team.
That's right, James. Alliances are very important in international relations. When countries support each other, they can prevent conflicts and solve problems faster. For example, if one country faces a disaster, its allies can send help immediately. It's like having strong friendships. When you have friends, you are never alone in difficult times.
Exactly, Sophia, but alliances are not always easy. Sometimes, countries in an alliance have disagreements. They may have different interests or opinions on certain issues. That is why leaders must always communicate and negotiate to keep alliances strong. Without good communication, even strong partnerships can become weak.
Yes, James, and that is why trust is very important in alliances. Countries need to trust each other to work together effectively. If one country breaks an agreement, it can create problems. That is why international rules and laws exist, to make sure that alliances are fair and that all countries follow the agreements they make.
Another thing to remember is that alliances can change over time. Some alliances become stronger, while others break apart. History shows that when countries work together, they can achieve great things. But if they stop trusting each other, alliances can end. This is why leaders must always work hard to keep good relationships.
Yes, and we see this in history many times. Countries that were once enemies have become strong allies, and sometimes old allies have become rivals. But no matter what, international relations continue to change, and leaders must always look for ways to cooperate and solve problems together.
That's a great point, Sophia. And when alliances work well, they bring peace, stability, and economic growth. When countries help each other, businesses grow, people have better jobs, and societies become stronger. Good alliances don't just help governments, they help everyday people like us.
Absolutely, James. International relations affect everyone, not just politicians. The way countries work together influences our daily lives, from the food we eat to the technology we use. That is why understanding international relations is important for everyone, not just leaders or diplomats.
Another key part of international relations is negotiation. Sometimes countries do not agree on things like trade rules, borders, or political issues. When that happens, leaders sit together and discuss until they find a fair solution. Negotiation is very important because it helps prevent conflicts and ensures that all sides benefit from an agreement.
That's true, James. Without negotiation, small disagreements could turn into big problems. Instead of using force, countries try to talk and compromise. For example, if two countries both want access to the same natural resource, they can negotiate a deal instead of fighting over it. This way, they both get something they need.
Yes, Sophia, and negotiations don't always happen between just two countries. Sometimes, many nations are involved. For example, when countries negotiate climate agreements, they all must agree on rules to reduce pollution and protect the planet. It's not easy because each country has different interests, but good negotiation helps them find a common solution.
Exactly, and during negotiations, each country has representatives called diplomats. Diplomats are experts in talking, listening, and finding solutions. They must be patient and understand different cultures and perspectives. A good diplomat can build trust between countries and help create long-term agreements.
That's a great point, Sophia, but negotiations are not always successful. Sometimes, countries cannot agree and discussions take years. For example, some trade agreements take a long time because each country wants the best deal for its economy. If countries refuse to compromise, negotiations can fail and tensions may grow.
Yes, and that is why mediation is sometimes needed. Mediation happens when a neutral country or an international organization helps two sides reach an agreement. A mediator listens to both sides and suggests fair solutions. Mediation has helped solve many conflicts and avoid wars in history.
That's right. One famous example of mediation is when the United Nations helps countries in conflict. The UN brings leaders together, provides peacekeeping forces, and works to create agreements that stop violence. Mediation is important because it allows countries to solve problems without fighting.
Yes, James, and when mediation is successful, it brings peace and stability to many parts of the world. Instead of war, countries find ways to work together. That is why negotiation and mediation are two of the most important tools in international relations. They help build a more peaceful world for everyone.
One important aspect of international relations is economic cooperation. Countries trade goods and services with each other to help their economies grow. Some nations export products like oil, food, or technology, while others import what they need. Without trade, many countries would struggle to get important resources.
That's right, James. To make trade easier, countries sign trade agreements. These agreements reduce taxes on imports and exports, making business smoother. Some regions, like the European Union, even allow free trade between countries without extra fees. This helps businesses grow and creates more jobs for people.
Yes, Sophia, however, trade is not always fair. Some countries place restrictions on imports to protect their own industries. Others may have disagreements over pricing or quality standards. When this happens, countries negotiate new trade deals to solve these issues and keep economic relations strong.
Exactly, James. Trade is not just about money, it also builds stronger relationships between countries. When nations depend on each other economically, they are less likely to have conflicts. Good economic cooperation helps create a more connected and peaceful world.
Another major part of international relations is global security. Countries work together to prevent conflicts, stop terrorism, and protect their citizens. Organizations like the United Nations and NATO help maintain peace by sending peacekeepers and providing military support when needed. Security cooperation is important for keeping the world stable.
That's true, James. Countries also share intelligence to fight crime and terrorism. For example, when one country discovers a possible attack, they warn their allies to prevent danger. This kind of cooperation helps keep people safe, whether it's stopping cyber attacks or preventing violence.
Yes, and security is not just about military power. It also includes cybersecurity and protecting important information. Today, many threats come from the internet, such as hacking and misinformation. Governments must work together to stop cybercrimes that could harm economies and national security.
Absolutely, James. And security also includes disaster response. When a country faces a natural disaster like an earthquake or hurricane, other nations send aid. Helping each other in times of crisis strengthens international relationships and makes the world a safer place for everyone.
Another important area of international relations is human rights. Countries all over the world work together to protect the rights of individuals, such as the right to live in freedom, the right to education, and the right to not be discriminated against. International organizations like the United Nations work to make sure all people are treated equally, no matter where they live.
Yes, James, human rights are so important. Sometimes countries violate human rights, and that's when the international community steps in. For example, if a government hurts its own people, other countries can apply pressure or offer support to make sure the government respects its people's rights.
Exactly, Sophia. Countries also sign human rights treaties to promise to protect their citizens. These agreements help hold governments accountable. If a country does not follow the rules, others can take actions like cutting off trade or applying sanctions to encourage change.
That's right. And people around the world also play an important role in human rights. When citizens speak up and demand change, international pressure can make a difference. By working together, countries and people can build a world where everyone's rights are respected and protected.
Another essential part of international relations is environmental cooperation. Many environmental issues, like climate change, affect the whole planet, so countries must work together to find solutions. For example, countries sign climate agreements to reduce pollution and protect the environment. These agreements help slow down global warming and protect the future for everyone.
Absolutely, James. The Paris Agreement is a great example. Countries all over the world agreed to reduce their carbon emissions to fight climate change. It's a huge challenge, but working together helps make a bigger impact. The environment is a global issue, so only through cooperation can we solve it.
Yes, Sophia, and it's not just about reducing pollution. Countries also collaborate on protecting forests, oceans, and endangered species. For instance, many countries work together to create wildlife reserves and protect natural resources. When we protect nature, we also protect ourselves.
Exactly, James. And protecting the environment also helps people in need. For example, clean water and air are essential for health. By working together to solve environmental problems, countries can improve the quality of life for people everywhere, especially in areas that suffer from pollution and climate disasters.
And finally, Sophia, let's talk about the role of global health in international relations. The world faces many health challenges, such as pandemics, disease outbreaks, and access to healthcare. Countries must cooperate to improve global health by sharing information, providing resources, and working together to fight diseases like COVID-19 or malaria.
Exactly, James. Global health is something that connects us all. During the COVID-19 pandemic, we saw how important it is for countries to share information and resources. Vaccines, medical supplies, and research were shared across borders to protect people's health. When one country struggles, the whole world can feel the impact.
Yes, and it's not just about fighting diseases. International relations also help improve healthcare systems worldwide. Countries work together to share knowledge about medicine, public health strategies, and how to provide better care for everyone. The World Health Organization, who plays a big role in guiding these efforts.
That's right, global health is a perfect example of how international relations are essential in solving big problems that affect everyone. By cooperating on health, countries can improve the well-being of their citizens and build stronger connections. It's another way that international relations make the world a better place for all.
This concludes our podcast series. Thank you for joining us. We hope this has helped you understand more about international relations and how countries work together to solve the world's biggest challenges. Stay curious and keep learning.